So this community foundations also we created ever since the NCF ECC or early childhood came into picture. We thought that handholding the educators of this years, that is from nursery to class 2, would be helpful and would be helpful for the educators to take on to this new curriculum and also change their teaching patterns, their teaching learning processes and planning in the classrooms. So today we bring to you social and emotional development in young children. I just showed you one video which laid the emphasis on why and how it is important. While the video talked about social emotional development from the ages 0 to 3, which is equally important. And why I wanted to show you before we begin with our today's program is because till the time you understand the kind of inputs that are needed when the child already comes to you, the child, that kind of development that should happen in the child, it becomes difficult as an educator to identify challenges and help the student accordingly. Once we know that this is the basic that should happen, that the child should have achieved by the age of 3 years, by the time the child comes to you in nursery or in the kindergarten section, this is the amount of social emotional development that should have happened. It becomes easier to help and identify and guide the parents and the students accordingly. So from here, I would now move on to our resource person for the day, Ms. Ruma Purkayasta, who's an experienced educator. She's been heading schools for more than 15 years, more than a decade and a half, and she's retired as a principal to one of the leading schools of Delhi. And she's been an early childhood care educator for a very long time, I think for more than 2 decades now. And she's an experienced and an expert in this area. So without further ado, Ruma ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Himani. Thank you for everything. And welcome all the teachers. It's been a while since I met you, and I'm happy to see you all here. It takes effort to come in on a Saturday afternoon when the weekend is just about to start. So thank you. Himani, we'll play the video a little later, since they've just gone through one video. So let me just share screen with you. And okay, is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible. Perfect. Yes.
Okay. Now, social emotional learning. As Himani pointed out, actually, the video was very clear. Everything around us is socio-emotional learning. We are all made up of emotions. We cannot survive without our social interactions. So why not begin early in childhood is the take for today. Now, before we go to anything else, I'd just like you to understand that it's a development that begins very early.
I'm sorry, educators. I would want all of you to mute. Just give me a second. I'll mute everybody. I'm really sorry for doing so. But you won't be able to unmute and say anything. Ruma ma'am, if you could unmute yourself once again. This is just to make sure that even by chance you don't unmute to avoid any interruption.
If they want to ask something, they can always raise their hand.
Raise their hand or put it in the chat box. I'm super active in the chat. I'll take it up.
So to go back to it, it's something that begins very early. And it's very early in life that children start understanding who they are, what is it that they are feeling, and what to expect when interacting with others. You must have seen some children who come into anybody's lap. There are some children who make friends with everybody, perhaps because they've had positive reinforcements. So if I smile and you smile back, I learn that, okay, if I smile, you will smile back. So that becomes my behavior. If I smile and you frown and 3-4 times you frown, I will learn not to smile. Or when I grow a little older, I will learn that I'm not supposed to smile at this person. So that's how they begin to expect what will be the outcome when they interact with others. So when they learn, it's all very early. So this is how relationships begin, how they learn to form and sustain positive relationships. And this is the very basis of social and emotional learning. Just a minute. Why is it not moving? Do I stop share and do this? Why is it not?
Just click on the presentation and do the next button. Just press on the next button.
Yeah, okay. So just very briefly to tell you exactly what it is, it's a process through which individuals learn and apply social, emotional related skills. They develop their attitudes, behaviors, and that's how they learn to deal with life. So thoughts, feelings, and actions are all. Now, how does this happen? I acquire a certain feeling. I apply it. Let me go back to the smile example. I learn how to smile. I've started school. I'm 4 years old. I have learned how to smile. I've acquired smiling. I apply it when I meet my friends. If I get a positive response, I continue to develop it. If I don't get a positive response, I don't develop it. My smile then becomes just a little shift in my face. You can spread this out to other skills, but this is exactly, first I acquire, I apply, and I develop it. And this begins very early. Let's not wait for the children to be 10 years old and we start talking about social emotional learning. It doesn't happen like that. Now, we all know we are dealing with knowledge, skills, and attitude. This is what learning, this is what education is all about. We have to encourage children to have healthy identities about themselves. Because somewhere there was this lacuna in our system, SEL today has become part of the curriculum. We have to teach our children how to manage emotions. Many of us as adults don't know how to manage our emotions. How do we achieve goals? Parents tell us, you must get so many marks when you're in class 12 so that you can get into this particular college. How do I go about it? How do I learn? What are the set of study skills that I have learned? I have to learn to understand myself and show understanding for others. I need supportive relationships and I need to learn how to take decisions. This is so important. At our ECCC level, decision making is making choices and making simple decisions. Should I play inside or should I play outside? Should I wear a sweater? Is it cold enough to wear a sweater or hot enough to not wear something? Simple decisions. But I learned to take those decisions. So healthy identities, emotions, empathy, and supportive relationships. This is what our social learning is all made up of. What does this picture tell you? Can I have some answers in the chat box? What is this picture all about?
Emotions, feelings, emotions.
Emotions, okay.
Emotions.
And why is that brain over there?
Nobody, I think, has reached the brain. Even I didn't see the brain. We were so busy looking at the smileys.
Different emotions in our minds, emotions of the child, multiple emotions in a second. Very good. Very nice.
Revati ma'am.
Okay. So what do you think this is? This is emotional intelligence. Though the topic today is not about emotional intelligence, but I thought I must stress a little bit upon emotional intelligence. So one of you said, no, so many emotions in a second. How do I handle it? So that's where my brain comes in. That's where my SEL comes in. That's where I learn how to deal with my emotions. I am a human being. I cannot be without emotions, isn't it? The child cannot be without emotions.
Ma'am, and one thing is very right. I'm sorry to interrupt. That in a second, there'll be moments where you'll have multiple emotions in a second.
Yes, absolutely.
One emotion at a time is easy to manage, but multiple, you don't know which one to pick.
And especially nowadays, with the kind of exposure, with the kind of changes in our diet, with the kind of lifestyles we need, everybody is their emotions are always highly strung, whether they are children or they're adults. So you have multiple emotions. That's why I love that photo. We have so many emotions coming out of your head. So basically, emotional intelligence, under the umbrella of emotional intelligence, we have self-awareness, social awareness, and trustworthiness. I'm not going into details. Trustworthiness is respecting others and others respecting you. For any relationship to last, for any relationship to be of any value, whether it is sibling, whether it is parent-child, whether it is within spouses, whether it is within friends, mentor disciple, anything. There has to be an element of trust. So self-awareness, social awareness, and trustworthiness, which basically refers to respecting the other person. This is what our emotional intelligence is all about. Now let's just go back to this. Before this, ma'am, I'm going to stop sharing. Can you show the video, please, ma'am?
Yes.
I'll come back to this. There's a little video I'd like you to see that.
Avantika, trust you're sharing it.
Okay, any responses to the video, please, in the chat box? Let's get some responses.
Somebody is good.
The belief that somebody is good. Okay, any responses to this? What is your takeaway from this video? Can we have a few answers in the chat box, or would you like to write later and we proceed? Feeling is shared, respect others' space, yes. Help them to share their emotions, managing emotions of anger and excitement. Absolutely, ma'am. Expressive, good manners. All right. We should be in limit and have our own space for self and others. So respecting how to deal with others. Okay. Share and care. All right. Thank you. Now, if you look at this video, social emotional learning is everywhere, isn't it? It's not that it's a separate part of what we do. So in anything and everything that we do, we need to incorporate it. Make them feel to speak with someone whom they can. Yes, ma'am. Okay, let me just go back to my screen.
It's not an isolated subject per se.
Sorry, ma'am?
It's not an isolated subject per se.
Yes, it's definitely not an isolated. Now, when we understand this, how does it help us? It helps us to have better relationships. Now, I'm talking about social relationships. I'm talking about SEL for ourselves and for our children. Because if I don't understand it myself and if I don't practice it with my own colleagues and in my own life, I will not be able to help children to do it. So I have the benefits are what? Better relationships. It will help me to stay motivated. I will also be able to accept challenges that come my way. We all have challenges all the time. Again, it's got stuck. Okay. Now, you as teachers in your classrooms, what can you do? I've written help. Foster and help the young ones to understand their emotions, to feel, to share, to have healthy relationships and positive goals and everything. Your role is to help. Guide, help, foster while you are in your pursuit of teaching. In the classes, whatever you are doing, please remember this is how you can help them. Now, of course, if I'm happy, I learn better. So academic achievement, even though we don't use the word academic achievement for ECCC, but whatever content learning is happening will be better. Concept clarity will be better if I'm happy, if I understand better. Because when I am in a positive frame of mind, obviously my neurons are working better. My grasping ability is better. I will show positive behavior and I will get encouraged to show positive behavior. I will be trained for better navigation of challenges in my life. If I'm able to handle the small little crises that happen in my childhood, little things, had a problem at play, sorted it out. Had a problem at work, sorted it out. Had a problem with my tiffin, sorted it out. I'm only preparing the ground to handle challenges that come to me as an adult. Because I'm learning to take small little decisions. I'm learning to choose. When I learn to choose, all my choices are not correct. But I also learn how not to make the incorrect choice. And this is where, as I said, help. Your help comes in. Yeah, you have to help them out. Okay. Okay, now when I talk about this, I'm talking about who am I, empathy, communication, and self-awareness. Let's move on to the next one. You have to have an ongoing SEL influence throughout the day in your classroom. Now, what does this actually mean? It just means that you have to have a a situation in your class where children feel safe, they feel comfortable, they feel they can open up, they can talk, and they're not threatened. That's all it means. That the comfort level of the child should be so high that the child should be able to open up. The child should be able to ask. Within this atmosphere should be your entire teaching learning process. That is how SEL happens. Now, what are the skills that we have to teach our early learners? Being able to get along with others, being able to cooperate with others, being able to manage strong feelings. I'm so angry because that child took away my notebook. I wanted to play with a set of blocks and this boy took it away. I'm so angry. What do I do? So instead of yelling at the child, we help the child to calm down. We help him to, we'll come to that. Manage strong feelings. Focus attention. There are 30 things happening. I have to get my child to focus on what the child is doing. Persist at challenging tasks, that they don't give up. My hand is tired, ma'am, I don't feel like writing. Never mind. Let's try putting in a couple of more words. Just that little edging, just that little help for them to finish. When they finish, it's success, it's happiness, it's dopamine released in my brain. Okay?
Now, I would like teachers to answer two things that I observed in this conversation. If anybody, two very important things in these 3-4 points that ma'am has just mentioned. Any 2 points, if we can have in the chat box.
Come, let's see.
Just 2 important common points amidst all that ma'am said. Help, okay.
Help, yes, ma'am, definitely.
What else?
Very nice.
Dopamine and positive, sharing, caring. That's right. What else? I'll share my thoughts also. Understanding.
Yes, ma'am, what are your thoughts? Help recognize learner strength. Absolutely, ma'am. That's wonderful.
I think, ma'am, I connect with Meenakshi and Ritu, ma'am, here. And even Gayatri, ma'am, there. That one that I felt was a reason. I am upset because, I am angry because. A lot of times we don't ask the because. Why? What are you feeling and why are you feeling like that?
Absolutely.
So the because, the reason. And second thing, like ma'am, and a lot of teachers have mentioned, acknowledgement. It's okay. I understand your hand is paining. It's okay. I'm not saying ऐसे कैसे आपका हाथ दुख रहा है? अच्छा ऐसे कैसे? कोई हाथ नहीं दुख, खेलते में नहीं दुखता तुम्हारा हाथ. अभी लिखते हुए दुख. I mean, these are common statements that we have in our.
Absolutely, and that is exactly what SEL is all about.
Acknowledging that yes, I understand. I'm so sorry. I feel bad. तुम्हारा हाथ दुख रहा है. But let's try and do
just that little bit. And I've got some lovely answers here. Observe the child first, depends on feeling, someone to talk to. Very nice. Emotions, positive environment. Very nice. Okay, shall we go ahead?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, teachers. It's nice to get these answers. Now, quickly, let me just come to what exactly is SEL. SEL has these 5 components: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationships, and responsible decision-making. Okay, we've been harping about it. Quickly, what is self-awareness? When I understand my own emotions, thoughts, and values, and I also understand how it influences others. I am angry today. I've thrown the book across the room. I'm so very angry. My self-awareness has come. But am I also aware that when I throw the book, what the others are going to feel? Okay, this is a very sort of a very radical example. I'm not telling anybody that throwing books is a good thing, please. Okay, but self-awareness. Self-awareness is about myself. Now, when I identify my own emotions, I know something about myself. When I know my own strengths, how confident am I, and how efficient am I in handling myself? That is self-efficacy. ask myself these questions. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? When am I at my best? When do I feel angry? What kind of a person do I want to be today? Basic questions. Let's ask ourselves this. Now, when I translate this to my classroom, I can word these questions differently, and I can choose an opportune moment to ask my child, why are you feeling like this today? Are you not feeling at your best today? Come on now, don't be angry. Tell me what angers you. Don't you want to be a good person today? Don't you want to be a confident person today? So while I ask myself these questions, I can reframe them and ask children while they are engaged in an activity, while they are throwing a tantrum, while they are, not doing what they're supposed to be doing. These we call them teachable moments. So we pick up on these teachable moments and we can ask these questions. Now, in self-awareness, we also have what is known as the emotional wheel. Now, the typical emotional wheel is like this, where you have the basic emotions and all their various tributaries. However, you can, in the class, you can have a wheel like this. When a child has an issue, you could bring out the wheel, turn it around and ask the child, where would you place yourself? What is it that you're feeling? Maybe the child can't read A-N-G-E-R, but you can tell him anger. The yellow is for joy, the green is for being sad. Where do you think you are? You will help children to label their emotions. This is a tried out, trusted activity. Please try it out. Do it on yourself if required. It's called the emotional wheel, and this really helps in identifying your own emotions. Sometimes, you could do it on yourself and you say, I'm angry, but then you sort of, when I have to put my finger on it, I'll say, no, actually, I don't think I'm angry. Maybe I'm scared. Why am I scared? Or maybe I'm sad. So you go through these things in your own head also. Self-management. I have to learn self-control. I have to learn how to behave according to the social norms that are given. And I also have to behave in ways that are optimum to me. Because at the end of the day, I have to achieve whatever my goals and aspirations are, isn't it? So I have to be able to manage my emotions. Self-management is self-control in simple words. And this is what we are referring to when we talk about little children. Impulse control. You cannot, even if you're hungry at 8:30, child, you will eat only when the break bell rings. Sometimes we do that, isn't it? Sometimes we give in to them, but sometimes we do that. Stress management. Child is upset, child is angry. This is all stress, different ways. I've often had parents tell me that, छोटे बच्चे इनको क्या stress है life में? ये तो हमें stress देते हैं. Believe you me, little children also have stress. They definitely have stress. And we tend to forget that they have stress. Self-discipline, we need to teach them. Standing in a line, following routines. This is all nothing but self-discipline. Self-motivation. Goal setting. Now, goal setting may sound very big to you, but little children also, we have goal setting, no? What is it that they can do today? Complete your work. Learn this, read this. That's also goal setting. Organizational skills translated to your classroom would be packing your bag properly, putting the books in its place, your pencil box, etc., your toys, or whatever it is doing. So these are all skills of self-management, or are equally, if not more, applicable in our ACC program. Self-management can also be questions like this. I need a break right now. Well, I don't know whether the teacher is going to give me a break or not, but I need a break. Why do you need a break? May I have some space? I'm not ready to share. You can word it differently. I think I need help with whatever it is. With my work, with my feeling, with my homework, with my classwork, which is incomplete. I don't understand yet, but I will manage to reach my goal. I will reach my goal. So these are questions that apply for self-management. Now, what is the self-management strategy that you can do? Self-management strategy that we do is positive self-talk. Positive self-talk. What do you understand by positive self-talk? Can I have some answers, please? What do you understand by positive self-talk? Come on, let's get some answers. Quickly, 5 answers is what I'm looking at. Appreciate yourself, okay?
Positive affirmations.
Positive affirmations, absolutely.
Motivation, self-motivation. Come on, you can
Come
do.
on, you
I
can do. Absolutely, ma'am. Motivate yourself, control your emotions, okay? All right. So when we talk, thank you. When we talk about things,
all is well.
yes. So positive self-talk, positive affirmations. Yes, you can do it. Why can you not do it? Shall we ask someone to help us? It'll become easier if somebody helps me. It'll take time, but you can learn this. There's so much. Positive affirmations. Everybody knows. You write your report cards using positive affirmations. So positive affirmations are the best way for positive self-talk. And that helps in self-management. For self-management, we have something called the WOOP. Wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. What is it that you wish for? I wish to get a chocolate today. When I complete my work. So wish is chocolate, outcome when I complete my work. What is the obstacle? Whatever it is. Pencil is broken, I don't feel like, hand is paining, head is paining. It could be anything. But I plan that because that's my wish and that's because that's my outcome, I will do away with the obstacle and I will plan. Believe me, teachers, it works. Remember WOOP, and you apply it to little children. They won't understand WOOP, of course. It's for you to follow it. But wish, obstacle, outcome, obstacle, and plan works. And it's a strategy for self-management also. So please try it on yourself. It works with adults too. Social awareness. What is social awareness? When you understand what others are saying, what others are feeling, when you can empathize with what others are doing, their backgrounds, their cultures. And in our country, we have so many cultures, as I repeatedly say. So I'm able to understand. I'm able to understand that my food may differ from yours. My clothes may differ from yours. My whole perception of life may differ from yours. But we are still human and we still respect each other. We're still very, very equal. That is social awareness. Now, this is the kind of social awareness that we need to foster. So when I'm looking at other people's perspective, when I'm being empathetic, when I'm appreciating diversity and I'm respecting others, is what is social awareness. And this is what we need to look at in our classrooms also. So we can ask questions. I wonder how that made me feel, or I wonder how that made my friend feel. What would I feel if I were in that situation? What is it that she may be thinking or he may be thinking? They seem sad right now. Maybe I should go and help or whatever. These are all blanks for you to fill in. So these are the kind of questions that if you ask yourself, if you reframe them and ask in classes, you will make children aware of these things. Before making children aware, please become aware yourself. What is the social awareness strategy that we use? We have something called the listening circles. Can anybody tell me what a listening circle is? Come on, I think all of you do it in your classes. Let's see. I think it's something that is done at circle time in most schools. Come on. I've given you a hint. It's something done in circle time in most schools. Conversation, yes, absolutely. When you have conversation with prompts, when you share thoughts, how did you feel yesterday? I felt a little nice. What would make you feel nicer? So you prompt a conversation. It's a little different from general conversation. Talking to children about their routines, okay, general conversation, sharing. More sharing thoughts and communication. That's how I learned to listen. Otherwise, I only talk. I don't listen. That's the problem nowadays. No, we only talk. We're not ready to listen. So when we share thoughts with a prompt, maybe everybody prompts. Each one is listening to the other. When you listen, when you do activities which involve your listening skill, social awareness definitely improves. Oh, this one's feeling bad because of this. I also feel bad because of this. So maybe it's normal. These are the thoughts that go through mind. They don't go through only your and my mind. They also go through the children's mind. So listening circles it's a very good strategy for social awareness. Relationship skills, interaction. Let me put it this way, interaction. How do I interact? I need to communicate clearly. I think I'll start my workshop at 4. Maybe I'll start it at 4:30. I have not communicated clearly. I've left a dichotomy out. So whatever I say has to be very clear, and so I have to do clear communication. Listen actively, listening skills. I listen actively. Cooperate. Work collaboratively, teamwork. Learn to negotiate conflict. 2 children have a fight. You intervene. For a while, let them sort it out under your guidance. Let them negotiate the conflict. Very often children will find after some time they'll come and say, no, we've become friends again. We made up. So they've negotiated conflict. What you need to watch out for is, I hope no bullying is happening here. Because the meeker child, the softer child always gives in to the dominant child. So a wrong behavior pattern sets in. Without doing anything, you can just silently separate the children. Accept diversity and help where needed. All this would add to your interactions. Communication, social engagement, friendship building, and teamwork. Social engagement is, of course, how to behave in a social setting. School is also a social setting, so they have to know how to behave. Ma'am, may I please go out of the classroom? May I please come in? May I please do this? This is all social engagement, social skills. Manners. You can ask questions. When you do this, it made me feel bad. Can you explain what you mean by that? I disagree with you because you didn't speak nicely. What did you mean by saying this? Questions, ask, clarify, communicate. Now, for relationship skills, I have an activity here, what do you think these are? What have I put out here? Come, let's get it in the chat box. What are these pictures? Come on, let's hear. What are these pictures?
I'm on the chat box, teachers. I have an answer, but I want to wait for everybody.
Yes, please.
Feelings. Different perceptions.
What are the pictures?
Hatred and love.
Oh, okay, I think we have bud, blossom, roses. Yes, ma'am. So there's a rose, there's a bud, and there is a... Can you not see it?
Thorn.
So there's a rose, there's a bud, and there is a thorn. We call this the road bud strategy. What do you think is the road bud strategy? Any takers? Any guesses?
Rosebud and thorn.
So when we talk about a rose, it's a happy thought, right? What went well? But what is going to go well? And thorn? The obstacle that's going to come my way, but how am I going to handle it? The rose, bud, and the thorn. How am I going to handle it? We call this the rose, bud, and thorn strategy, and it works when you turn your thorn into a rose. Something positive or worthy of a celebration. Bud is something that's going to happen, so something you're looking forward to. And thorn is something that you might need help with. So why can I not turn my thorn into a rose? When I learn to turn my thorn into a rose, I develop the growth mindset. Ma'am, I just can't do it. This is not for me. Give it to somebody else. But why, child? Why can you not do it? The thorn could be lack of confidence. Let's work it out. Okay. So the rose bud thorn strategy works very well over here. Responsible decision making, big word, isn't it? So for relationship skills, we had rose, bud, and thorn. For what is responsible decision making? I've written something here. To make caring and constructive choices about personal behavior and social interactions across diverse situations. Whatever situation you are in, you take a decision. Now, translated to ACCA, it means simple decision making and simple choices. So they're not really taking decisions that affect the world economy, isn't it? So simple problems, analyze the situation. How do I solve it? How do I evaluate it? How do I reflect on it? Should I do it or should I not? That's the ethical responsibility. Anyone. And you could do simple problem solving in the class. You have a games period, but it's raining. We cannot go out. It's raining. I've identified the problem. If we go out, we are all going to get wet. Analyzed it. Solve it. Let's do something here. At the end of it, did you have fun? Was it, I know you missed going out, but did you have fun? All right. What did you learn? What was your ethical responsibility here? That's for the teacher. What value have you created here in the class? You can ask questions like this. If I do this, how will it impact somebody else? Is it worth doing? Why do I even want to make a choice? Was this the strong choice or was it a wrong choice or was it a choice that I could have left? Is this going to help me? These are questions that we ask for responsible decision making. Now, responsible decision making also has you can follow the strategy, identify the problem, find the different options. What is the outcome? What is the option? And reflect on how things went. So, identifying, finding the options, what is going to be most relevant, choosing the right thing to do, how it went is evaluation. This is going to help you with decision making. Okay, let's come to. So what can you do for SEL in school? Have a safe and supportive learning environment. Implement the SEL curriculum that has been given to you in its real spirit and not with that thing that, okay, ab to ye bhi aa gaya, ye bhi karna hai. Involve parents and families, and dear teachers, please always look out for your own professional development. Be abreast with what's happening in the world. Of course, there are challenges, the lack of resources, but here I would like to say, for SEL, you don't need number of resources. You can make do with what you have. You need a large heart and being innovative. I know there is limited teacher training, so strive to learn more wherever you can. And there is resistance to SEL from educators themselves and from parents, probably because parents don't understand its impact. So if you can clarify to them what it means and bring them on board, it would help. Let's see how we can do this. I'll quickly take you through because I think we'll run out of time otherwise. I'll take you through some of the self-awareness through art. Drawing, painting, coloring, listening to music. This is all self-awareness, isn't it? But is it just going to be self-awareness just by drawing and painting? No, we need to ask a few questions. Supposing, and this art includes music, it includes poem, it includes recitation. Now, in a art class, what do? I give them prompts. How did this make you feel? Why have you used the color red? Why not green? What does the color blue remind you of? Is this a happy color? What do you think this means? Ask questions. Get them to talk to you through art, music, dance. Everything is an art form. Responsible decision making in the classroom. There are chores that children do. There are various monitors. Different schools call them different things. Helpers, monitors. See how many chores they are able to do. Have a chart for them. Let them tick. Let them see what they can do. I mean, there are so many things there are so many chores, and I don't want to make a chart with chores because every class is different, every school is different. So you have your own monitors. You can do one for school and you can do one for chores at home. The chores may vary from child to child, but you can have some general chores that you feel they should be doing. In fact, I came across this classroom helpers. This is not what I have made, but I'm just showing it to you because this is something that can be done. And when you get tick marks on this, it's going to be decision making. What am I going to do? Should I do what kind of a helper should I be? What should I do? How many times should I do it? It just goes on from there. Self-management. What is self-management? Is this meditation, mindfulness? For mindfulness, you can have a list of favorite activities that they like to do and help them to visualize that activity. Take them through a journey in their mind where they're able to visualize that activity, that goal. Oh, you want to run. Would you like to see yourself on the winning stand? First or second? Okay, let's see. Everyone's running. You've come first. You're on the winning stand. You've got a report card with, or you've finished your classwork with 10 stars. Help them to imagine. It's a feel-good factor. It helps them. When they get emotional, self-management comes in. Stop there, breathe, calm down, observe. Okay, now tell me what's happening. So these are all the various self-management techniques. You can also make them aware of their senses, make them close their eyes and say, all right, what can you feel? Let's see, what can you touch? What can you see? What can you hear? And so on and so forth. It's a very, very effective self-management technique. Self-management is also goal setting. Today, I'm going to finish this. When we give homework, whatever homework it could be, reading, whatever, classwork, at the beginning of the thing, we say, all right, you have to finish this by this time. That's a simple goal that's been set, followed by some kind of a reward, whatever the reward is. These are all self-management techniques. Child learns to finish handwriting, finishing work in time. So many children write slowly. Reading. Reading is a fantastic activity for SEL. Choose books with feelings. Choose books where the characters talk about emotions, where the child goes through those emotions while reading. There are lots and lots of stories for children. Encourage them to read together, encourage them to share the book and read together, and then discuss the book. Oh, you know, this one did this one did that. The simple Red Riding Hood. The wolf was bad or was the wolf good? Etc., etc. You can go on. So reading is one of a very, very effective method for developing SEL. The right kind of skill. Use icebreakers. Simple icebreakers in class. The class gets rejuvenated. Children focus. They feel happy. And then you go back to work. Simple icebreakers, wherever possible, you must use icebreakers. Now, there's this thing called a getting to know you chain. These are some games that I'm sharing with you. You can have a circle and you can have one child ask the other child the first question, the second question, the third question, the fourth question. You give out the questions, and after the questions are done, have a conversation. Okay, you know, how many of you like chocolate ice cream? Is Spider-Man your superhero? Somebody will say, no, ma'am, I don't like Spider-Man. So go so on and so forth. This is called getting to know you. You can get children to play it amongst themselves when they're new in the class. Or you can even, a variation of this would be, take 2 questions. Every child asks the other child 2 questions. And at the end of it, you collate the answer to see how many actually liked baseball and how many have older brothers. So it's just like, it's like an icebreaker, but it's getting to. How do you get the shy child to talk? Have interesting questions. If I could get rid of one food forever, what would it be? I've usually got the answer, Karela. What's one food you love that most people hate? What's one food you hate that most people love? Generic questions. What's your favorite thing to do after school? If you could keep any animal as a pet, what would it be? The shy child will talk when you give generic questions like this. Pull them out. Have a deck of word names. Like you have flashcards, take little flashcards, write every child's name. Get children to pull out names. Okay, I've got your name. So I go and ask you the question. So there's no way I'm saying you meet you, you meet you. Let it just be a very generic thing. But getting the shy child to talk would be by having very, very safe questions to answer. Which is the one food that you like which most people hate? I think everybody would have some food. Or which is, if I could get rid of one food, what would it be? I told you I've always heard Karela from children. And there was once a child who loved Karela. So there she was, one food you love that most people hate. Okay?
Karela.
It's never too early to start developing social emotional skills. I can harp and harp on this. Please encourage daily greetings. Good morning. How are you? How are you feeling? Have a happy day. Wear your smile. Positive self-talk. Please reward random acts of kindness. If you help someone cross the road, if a child carries notebooks for you, if a child falls down, another child goes to pick up the child. Random acts of kindness. Emotion identifiers. Learn to identify what the emotions are. I told you about that game, that wheel. Please use that. That works. And definitely have calm down corners. Have a place. Calm down. Okay. Now, this is a place you're upset, you're angry. Please go and sit down on that chair. Make sure that chair is not associated with punishment. I am not sending you to sit over there because you're punished. No. I just want you to calm down. I want you to feel, understand what you're feeling. Settle down, breathe, relax. Then we will discuss it. Have a space where you allow children to calm down. Because children today have a lot of anger issues. When students feel safe and supported, they're truly ready and able to learn. This is absolutely true. How do you start conversations? Sometimes you don't know how to start. Use simple questions. What's the one thing that made you laugh? If you were invisible for a day, what would you do? If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? If you could visit any planet, what would you do? If you could trade places with a character or a TV show, who would you choose? Most of the time, children will tell you Superman, Batman. I don't know. There are so many of these. I don't even know all the name of the superheroes. I sometimes see somebody becoming a ninja, someone becoming something else. So, they're doing role play all the time. If you had to change your name, what would you change it to? Very, very general, generic questions. Start conversation. You start the conversation. You ask them, what is the one thing that made you laugh recently? One child will say something, they'll laugh. You will get 30 more answers. Ma'am, this is what happened to me. That is what happened to me. That is what you probably have to then say, okay, let's calm down. Now let's get back to something else. Okay. Story time. Everybody does stories. Storytelling, story time. Encourage them to write stories together. When they write stories together, they think together, they learn empathy. They learn to make a little decision too. They will disagree, then they will say, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. There'll be some little bit of conversation that will happen over there. All this goes towards social emotional learning. And these are very easy things to do in your classes as part of your content. Social emotional learning is not isolated. It's part of your content. Ball games and sports. Ball games work. They really, really work. Because there's so much that they can do with it, isn't it? Sports, team sports, sharing, caring, all these things help you to remember, read, and remember and understand. Role play. You can never underestimate role play. Role play is one of the best ways to encourage social emotional learning to develop. If you are giving roles out, make sure the same child does not get the same role every time. Make sure the same child does not get positive roles every time. Your roles should be divided in such a way that every child gets an exposure to varied emotions. If I am a princess, I always land up being a princess. No. I must sometimes be the bad person also in the fairy tale, no? I must sometimes be the devil or the evil man or whatever.
The witch.
Yes, the witch. So make sure that they do all kinds of roles. Puppets. Making of puppets, self-awareness. Using puppets, social awareness. Telling a story, interaction. How much puppets can do? And all of you, I'm 120% sure, are using puppets in your classrooms. There's no ECC without puppetry. What is this? What am I trying to say in this? Can I have something in the chat box? Circle time, okay. Something else? Attendance link will come a little later, ma'am. Circle time, music, okay. Okay.
Playing together.
Playing together. Circle time and lunchtime, teamwork, playing together. Okay. I like to call this playing listening games. You can devise your own listening game. Please encourage children to listen. When they listen, they look within, they understand others. Okay. So listening games, Simon Says, red light, green light. There are so many of these games, no? And that's when they learn to listen to instructions also. Otherwise, they'll never learn to listen to instructions, which is one of our basic problems. Any questions, please ask me.
Simon Says is one of the best games for listening,
Yes.
especially with kids, actually of all age groups.
Yes. I've seen adults play it also in different ways.
And
Okay,
then that
any
is the time when
questions?
adults realize that they don't listen that well.
Yes. All right, dear teachers, any questions?
Any
Please.
queries, any doubts, any questions?
How do you deal with naughty kids? There's one question that says, how do you deal with naughty kids? Gross motor time, circle time. Okay, let me just open chat box. How do you deal with naughty kids, ma'am? Give them more work. Involve them, engage them. Let them not have time to get naughty.
They're the super active kids.
Yeah, they're intelligent children. That's why they're naughty. How to get out of the angry mode? Ma'am, first identify what is it that is making you angry. Why are you becoming angry? Once you identify the source of anger, you'll be able to deal with it. So how do I deal with my anger? First, trying to find out what is it that makes me angry. How do you deal? Achha, 1 minute, there were some questions that came. I think I've lost the question somewhere. Somebody had asked a question, I think, how do you involve an autistic child? Ma'am, we will do ADHD and autism at some other forum because this would take...
That's a full-fledged session in itself.
That would take a long, because first we need to understand the spectrum.
Yes.
How do you get out of the angry mode? Ma'am, identify what is it that is getting angry. Getting you angry.
How to deal with children, ma'am, who cook up false stories just to seek attention.
Ma'am, you need to find out first, why are they cooking up stories? Why do they want attention?
Probably they're not getting it at home, you know.
Sometimes, ma'am, the reverse also happens. Nowadays, I find with children, because there are fewer children in the house, they're getting too much attention. And they want that kind of attention in schools also. Earlier, we always said that if they don't get attention at home, they want attention in school. Nowadays, there are a whole lot of children who are getting too much attention at home. So it translates also to wanting the same kind of attention in the classroom. So either of the two, you have to identify what is it and then work on that. And then if it is too much attention at home, then the child needs to learn that, look, at school, it's not going to work like this. If it's not getting attention at home, then you need to give the child a little more attention and figure out. So basically, when there is an issue, first try and find out why this is happening. Sometimes attention can also be because they're uncomfortable with something. And they're always wanting to ask. Yes, any other question?
And
yes, new baby at home. Yes, absolutely. That's very, very common when there is a new sibling at home.
Also, ma'am, a lot of times that we've seen that actually what we've been discussing over the last 1 hour is that attention seeking or cooking up stories, that is where we need to pitch in and do the social and emotional learning.
Absolutely.
To understand what is happening with the child and help him.
Even with attention seeking, it helps to understand why attention seeking is happening. So if you try the wheel, the wheel of feelings, you will be able to understand where the child is. And do it 2-3 times. So sometimes they may just fake it also. Because they want to be good, so they'll never say angry. So do it 2-3 times for you to get the right answer.
I think at the end of the day, patience is the key to ECC.
Ma'am, the patience is the key to all kinds of education.
To all levels of educators.
All levels of education. And if you think that at ECCA, children are difficult, they get far more difficult as they grow older.
Yeah, ECC children are more loving. Eventually,
yes.
they get,
as they grow older, I call them, they become more devilish. in a nicer way. I mean, I don't mean
in a
it.
nicer way, yeah.
You don't mean it negatively.
Children will always be children, but sure, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, we will share. We'll share the test with you.
There's no point in sharing the workshop because you will not be able to figure out what is it in it. But you could share the video with them.
Yes.
Because the workshop, the thing only had points. But read up on SEL. And you can share the video with them, ma'am. There's no issue.
Yeah. So I think we've come to an end to all the questions and the doubts. And it has been an interesting and interactive session. Everybody's, I think, enjoyed. We were able to maintain the participation till the end. That's a good sign. That says that the session was good. And I think social and emotional learning is one thing which, you can extrapolate and extend it to even your own personal lives. How much ever we say that only for the kids, but even for ourselves, it helps. Yes. And I'm sure a lot of children, like, for example, I could relate to decision making. A lot of times I struggle with it. And I remember as kids, a lot of people who are my age approximately would understand, we were not given choices. Now we were told, ये खाना है, ये करना है, यहाँ जाना है, इतने बजे उठना है. So, decision making doesn't come naturally to us. Yes.
So, and ma'am, if there are particular things that they want in the next few sessions, they can write in.
I think special needs, working with students with special needs would be one of the sessions.
I think we need to work on that. Yeah. Anything else, if you have, can you please write into us and we'll try and answer them for you. Absolutely. We are in the group. Any questions, please write it on the group. We'll take it up. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, dear teachers, for coming in. Lovely session, lovely interacting with you after so long. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much. I've shared the link for the feedback form in the chat box. Please click on them. Thank you so much, Neela ma'am. You can click on the link, fill in the form. You'll get your certificates once you fill the form. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to log out at this point. One last time, I'm sharing the feedback link, just in case anybody would have missed. Great. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Actually, this is a long weekend. Enjoy yourself. Bye.